The first thing to understanding how to pick the right sound is understanding the frequency spectrum. We're going to pull up an EQ so you can see what I'm talking about. So we have an EQ graph right here, and we bring up the different frequencies. As you can see, we have the sub bass from 20 to 60 hertz. We have the bass, low mids, upper mids, and highs. Now this is important because this is the spectrum of human hearing. So when you have instruments, you have to figure out what place do they belong in the spectrum. We start with the bass. As you can see, the bass resonates between sub bass and low mids. And if you add some saturation, the bass can actually have upper mids and mids. It just depends on the distortion that you add to the bass or harmonics. Next, we have synths. Now, synths can range a wide. We have from all the way to bass to all the way high. We have the kick. The kick can range again from sub bass all the way to the highs. Now you can see we already starting to overlap, and we only have 3 instruments right here. And kick and bass is normally a big problem for a lot of people to mix because there's so much sub frequencies in there. Then we have the snare, which is in a little bit low bass depending on how thumpy the snare is, but it has a wide range also. Have hi-hats, wide range. And we have the vocal. If you're making music with rappers or singers, I mostly make instrumental music for television, so vocal is really not there, but it's still, you still have to worry about all these things in the spectrum. So as you can see, there's a lot of things that can overlap. And the key is you want things to fit in the mix so you can hear almost every element clearly. Tip number 2, different sounds have different feelings and emotions. If you see here, I have a nice little electric piano. Now that's a soft sound. So depending on what kind of mood you want to portray, you want to use a soft sound. And we also have a harsh sound, have a lead sound right here. So I'm playing the same notes, but it gives you a different feel. And that's so important to remember when you're making music. Do you want it to be dark and light? Do you want it to be aggressive? And especially for TV, sometimes having aggressive sounds, it doesn't fit with a lot of the scenes because you got to remember the voice is always the star. And even though the people are not rapping or singing, the audience watching needs to hear the voice. So sometimes using those harsh sounds, they're not all that great, but it just depends on how you arrange them in the song that they will sound nice and don't clash with the vocal. The third tip is picking the right sound for the genre. Now, I'm going to put right in quotation marks because there isn't no right song for a genre. Let's take the theme song Succession. Have you seen that show? Man, I love the show, but the theme song is what I love the most. I never skip that theme song. Any other theme song, I just skip it. But this theme song, it combines hard 808 drums with this nice piano and this flowy orchestra in the background. So you would think usually classical music doesn't have any hard bass drums to it. This song combines that heavy trap influence with the classical elements. And even the composer said that's the ideal he was trying to make for this show, to build that tension and urgency. So there is no right sounds, but certain drums go with certain genres. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So I have on the screen, I have 3 different types of drums. Now we're going to listen to it and we're going to see how they all fit together and how they change the mood of the song. Okay, a little trap, little rock. How does it feel now? Little Afro beats. Now you see how just hearing the sample on its own, it was just a nice dark sample. But those 3 different drums, the trap beats to the acoustic beats to the Afro beats, they all changed your mood. Now, the one that probably fit the most was the trap beats that went over with the hard 808s and the dark mood. But hey, you might have a different genre. If you do that again and experiment where the drums switch every 4 bars and you can make it flow tight, you might invent a whole new genre. That's why I said there is no really right or wrong. But if you listen to the context of this music, the drums that go the best is the trap drums. Now, if I change these Afrobeat drums, the same drums, and I take out the sample and I put it with the nice chill piano, let's hear it. Now you see how that fits? The drums go together because you have a soft instrument and you have soft drums. So that's just a simple example of how choosing the right drums in the context of the song can help you find the right sounds. Tip number 4 is picking high quality drum sounds. You got Native Instruments expansion packs, which I use a lot. You got Splice, you got Loop Cloud, you got Kingsway samples. There's so many other loops you can find. So I would suggest starting off getting at least 10 to 12 high quality packs. I have one expansion pack pulled up right here. Nice, just nice sounds. You can just make something simple and quick. See how nice that is? And I have all these packs. So what I might do, if you see all these packs, I might actually just go through one and force myself to make a beat with only this pack. So this pack right up here, this booming kit, I use all the drums from that and I'll stick with that. And then if I go to another song, let's pull up a different one. Let's do this Come On kit. See, already nice sounds, and it's a different sound, so you can scope different beats. And that's just 2 drum kits. So that's what I would advise. You start with high quality drum sounds and limit the amount that you use. If I take you back in my battery kit, so I do have a lot of kits compared. I don't know what you have, so it's all perspective of what a lot means. But I actually don't even use most of these. Most of these, I just stay at the top. My best kits I use is like this Boy Wonder kits. I have a whole bunch of just nothing but kicks. So if I go, so if I want to make some quick nothing but kick packs, the same thing with the snares. It's just a whole bunch of snares. So even though you might not want Boy Wonder sounds because they old, but when they picking music for TV, they're not going to be like, I recognize that Boy Wonder snare. Nope, this is not going to go in. It has nothing to do with that. If it sounds good and it vibes with the scene, they're going to use it. Tip number 5, less is more. I have this project pulled up, the same project I've been working with. Let's mute all these. Now, if you look at this, I have what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 tracks. That's it. Now, all I have to do is really arrange this and make it interesting. And I have a whole song with just using 10 tracks. And you can even count, if you just take the drums, some people count drums as 1 track. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 tracks in total if you just count the drums as 1 separate track. Let's play just the drums so you can hear how it sounds and how full it sounds with not that many sounds in it. Now you listen to it, right? The kick, it sounds full. So it already takes up a lot of space. And that clap on top right here, you hear that reverb in the tail? It takes up a lot of space. So if we pull up an EQ curve, you see how the clap has some lower frequencies. Now we put the bass with that. And you can see right here the kick. Let's get these windows set. So if we look, the kick on the left, the clap on the right, they almost take up the whole spectrum with just two sounds. And of course, we can clean up the clap to take some of that low out. Right? But the clap loses us a little bit of weight, so I want to keep it in there. Okay, that sounds good. Let's play that all again with just the drums. Now you see how the highs have time to come in when the kick and clap starts. So that's what I mean. You don't need a lot of instruments. Now, a problem most people have is the kick and the bass because they compete for the same low frequencies. Let's hear the bass with the whole beat. Now you can hear it does clash. Well, this is just how I like to make my music. I take them in 3 stages. This is the creation phase. But I know in the mix phase that I'll be able to take some of that, the muddiness out from the sub bass and the kick, and I'll be able to duck the bass under the kick, so that way when the kick hits, the bass will come in nice and subtle. But that's for another video. But you can already see how full this track is, and it's just the drums and the bass. Now let's add a simple pad. Now listen to that, right? Taking up a lot of the mid range. I can take some of that bass out, so that way we're not clashing with the kick and the bass. Let's hear it. Now you see how it kind of sits in that pocket right in the middle instead of having all the bass from this pad clashing with the kick and the actual sub bass. Now the last important tip is you need to balance what's in the mix. So if you were at this point and you were stuck in the loop, don't add another low sound. Let me show you how it sounds if I add another low sound to the mix. This pad right here. You see how it clashes? So what you want to do is pick something opposite. So you got enough low. And if I take the second half of this beat, now we're coming in with a high instrument, the same instrument, it's just an octave higher, and listen to how better it sits in the mix. So that second half right there, that would probably be my chorus. That would be the hook. That song is done. I'll arrange the song. Let me show you another advanced tip. So even if I keep that low pad in there and I play it in the front, if you add a vocal or something sprinkle, I want to add some accents on it. So I'm at this piano. So when I mean by if you have something low, you want to play something high. When you have something high, you want to play something low to make it contrast. So I'm going to freestyle on the keys and watch how I blend it in with playing high and playing low. Now you see how that sounded? So on the first half, I played something high because that was playing low. This sound right here is playing low, so I'm playing something high. Then the second half, The last tip is to have patience. See, that doesn't sound too great, but you're not going to be good overnight and learning which sounds to select. I've been making music since the 2000s. So that's a good chunk of time to understand what goes with what, how musical taste change, how to get my drums better, how to create more separation, how to use the less is more theory. So let me play you some of my old beats so I can show you how I evolved from when I used to make music until now. Let's play something. Now, what is that? The drums ain't doing nothing. The bass sounds wonky. So that was one of my earlier beats. Then I get a little better at making beats and learning how to put more interesting sounds together. So there I learned that you don't need much to make a song. If you have a good foundation, it can carry through a song. And now this is probably where I'm starting to shift into the making music for TV phase. So this track, even though it sounds just like the 2000s, it's called JD. I was trying to emulate Jermaine Dupri during that era. But the fundamentals of this song working for TV and film, it works. Let's listen. Now you hear them hits? Don't. Now I could probably redo this song with better strings, better drums, and this would be placed on the TV, right? When I break it down. That little bell, see, you don't need that much. Then we come to the sound that's today of me making music. It sounds way better. Everything is better. The mixing, the way the instruments flow, the drums. Let's listen. Come on. What? Now you see how better that sounds. It sounds wide. It sounds clean. You can hear all the elements. I have the claps actually panned out so that way when the rapper is on the track or the vocals is playing during the TV show, it can sit right there in the middle. So as you can see, why it's so important to have patience and time. And I would suggest starting off emulating people. You see, I did. The biggest inspirations for me at the time was Timbo and the Neptunes. Like almost every other beat was sounding like either one of those producers. Then I ended up just getting my own style. So I would suggest whoever you look up to, look to those people and see how they put their sounds together, how many sounds they have in it. And then it would just take time to where you can understand, okay, I don't need this many sounds in my track. And then you would start to develop your own sound. You now got some more tips to help you pick better sounds so your music can sound good. You're going to be building some better beats. Let me know in the comments if you want more in-depth breakdowns and tips and tricks like this to help your music production. Take it easy. Peace.